Okay, now I have to start over.
Okay. Click.
So this line, 3T, means things take time. Then fruits of my labor increase through the grapevine.
Boom.
I got it right.
Boom. That's right. That's right.
So take us to where that line comes from and how it is connected to why we're sitting together today.
No doubt. So the mixtape called Freeze Time that I made or released in 2013 with Red Bull, which was my first project I actually released with Red Bull, has a song called 3T, track 1. 2 actually, but that would have been track 1 had I not had to do a little intro. You know, so the track basically speaks about me like racing against time, almost trying to like succeed in time or make the most of my time or just not waste time basically. And at this time I was doing the mixtapes, so I was grinding. I was like doing I did like 24 mixtapes in 24 months by that time already.
Yeah.
By the time
That's
I made
2013.
that's 2013.
Before you even have the CPT to your name.
Yes, before CPT was in my name, so this is very, very early as well. I was doing for like 3 years at that point only. So at this time, I just knew that because I was working so hard, constantly, like I was always in the studio at that point. I'm not even in the studio that much, like I was then. But at this time, I was just on like a crazy run, like constantly recording, constantly doing shows, free shows, paying shows. At that time, I didn't really, I wasn't bothered about how much I was getting paid, as long as I got something. And if I didn't get anything, just cover the transport, cover the DJ. Maybe it's something to eat, a beverage or two, but as far as the payment for the show, I wasn't really caring. So I knew that I was hustling and I would see the rewards one day. I would reap the benefits of all this one day, not knowing when the day would be. But yeah, that's what the line meant to me. It was like the prep work that goes into it, the time that goes into it, the hustle and the effort that goes into it.
Yeah.
So that was the thinking behind that line. Almost like I was feeling like a farmer. Like cultivating my crops, watering them, watching them grow, and then like just waiting now for the harvest, basically, to reap the benefits.
So how do we move from that in 2013 to I'm going to name my debut album 3T?
I think the concept of that, 3T itself was almost genius, but also applied to my life. Because I wasn't one of those guys that had that overnight story or the overnight success, and things never really came easily for either of us, and like the YG and so on and so. So I always feel like because I was never a one-hit wonder or overnight success. Like time was always going to play a role. It was always going to be a factor. Yeah. And I was always going to have patience. So.
And here we are.
And here we are. I was patient. I was patient to release this. It took me like 4 years.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years to release this album. So I definitely think that even now after this, things will still take time for people to grasp it, for them to even listen to it fully,
to get through it.
Yeah. It will take them time, And I'm not angry at that, because I realize that none of what I do is really like just fast food anymore. It has to be consumed bit by bit and piece by piece, and you must savor it. You need to sometimes refer back and like, what did he say there? What does he mean there? So I understand things are still going to take time even. But like I said, my whole career has been that. So I'm in no rush.
So anyway, on the 3T track, right? You say, I'm killing this shit. Do you remember?
I don't. Okay. I don't know where you're starting anymore.
This shit. Spiritual kid.
Oh yes.
Religion is king.
Yes.
Right? And I thought that was very interesting because on the 3T album,
Open
you
for
have
that
786.
Yes, 786.
We're coming to Pavement Special.
Okay, yeah, sorry. 786, no doubt.
So for people who aren't in the Muslim community, I didn't even know what that meant. I had to go to look it up. So can you explain a little bit about why you wanted to name the track that and just the idea behind the track?
2 things. So thing number 1, in the first half of 786, when I do the yes, it's 7, like that half of it explains the other side of what the numbers, the 3 numbers mean in Cape Town. So, I mean, to those of you who know, and you know as well, the gangsterism in Cape Town is quite intense.
Yeah.
You know, so the three numbers that rule the prison system is 26, 27, and 28.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, though, these numbers are tattooed on men, and actually, you know, they represent whichever gang they belong to through those numbers.
Yeah.
You'll even see it like spray painted on walls in Cape Town. You'll just see a 8 with the sun rising, or 8 with the sun down, a 7 with a 6 in it. Like they combine it even, so it's a 7 top with a 6 bottom.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are things that I've been seeing on walls for years, markings basically, marking the turf. So I always found it ironic that in Islam, the numeral 786 get translated to the words Bismillah Rahman Rahim, which is how we as Muslims must start off everything that we do. When I get out of bed, I say Bismillah Rahman Rahim. When I leave the house, I say Bismillah Rahman Rahim. When I eat, I say Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So Bismillah Rahman Rahim, when you start things off with the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, it's like blessing your journey, blessing your food, blessing your sleep, blessing your, you know, waking up, getting out of bed. Thank you that I'm alive, you know. So it's a very deep meaning. And even on our gravestones, the Muslim gravestones, you go to the Muslim graveyard, each gravestone starts with 786.
Oh, wow.
When I'm buried one day, it will say 786 on my gravestone, and then my name and who I was. So my father's gravestone, my grandmother's gravestone, they all have 786 on theirs. So that's the religious aspect of it. And then on the other hand, there's the gang culture that adopted
Which you
it.
started. Yeah.
Which, I mean, has always been, it's always been prominent, especially even as far as Muslims are concerned. If you listen to the song Crazy Arabian, that was a gang. Yeah, see, yeah, there was a gang. There was a gang in Cape Town called the Crazy Arabians. And that was a phrase I had heard for a long time because it was an old gang. And, they're not that much around anymore. But just like having that attached to Islam, which is such like a, you know, ancient religion and very more or less like straightforwarding, very strict practice, you know, like the fact that we even have a gang connected to that is, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not on the level of ISIS, obviously, and you know, those kinds of religious groups. It's more like just of straight gangsterism.
Right.
They're not fighting in the name of Allah. They're just fighting. They're just fighting at the end of the day. That's it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to highlight that because I know many Muslim guys, especially young guys, have been, some of them have been indoctrinated into it, some of them have been made into believing certain truths about it, and some of them will die for it.
Yeah.
For those 3 letters, I mean those 3 numbers in Cape Town. So I felt like there's a light and a dark side to 786 as far as Cape Town is concerned. There's a light and a dark side to that, and I just wanted to highlight that in the album because the album is about, at the one hand, victory with songs like Young Van Riebeek and Powerful, and shit like that. And on the other hand, it's also about the struggle and the pain and the trials and tribulations that one were to go through. So even our religion has that. It has the negatives and the positive in Cape.
I think it's so interesting that 786 obviously has this duality that you're talking about, and Pavement Special starts with,
Yes.
and then we go off to the guys talking about the light that you are, right?
That.
But they also talk about how the kids will go to the mosque and then be outside shooting guns right after.
Yeah, they go to mosque saying, "Forgive me that I'm about to go out there and end someone's life."
So juxtaposing that with your granddad saying the thing he wishes he had was religion.
Yes,
he wishes
he took more time for religion and like he made more effort in that aspect. And I also feel like that's something that we as people, because of the time we're living in now, there's so many distractions, there's so many things to take you away from that, to make you forget about your religion and your upbringing and the fundamentals. So the fact that him as an elderly man still has that kind of regret, it shows that we should actually not take it for granted that we have life now, and that we have youth, and that we have ability. We can go to mosque anytime, we can go to church anytime now. My grandfather can't see anymore, he's going blind. He can't read the Quran. He told me that is the worst thing about being blind, that he can't read the Quran anymore. You know, so he just listens to it, like on the radio, and you know, the Muslim radio station, he just plays that all day. Because they recite the Quran, you know, and different verses. So I think that religion plays a very big aspect in this album. I mean, even if you look at the symbol 3T, it's taken from the Om, which is the Indian symbol for inner peace. and tranquility. And it's not necessarily what I was intending to promote when I did the album, but I wanted to combine some of the Arabic. So if you look at on top of the T, you get like a little dot, you would call it, almost like a dot. That is an Arabic symbol.
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost like I'm combining the religions almost in a way, like the Indian, the Buddhism, Hindu, and then the Muslim aspect. And these are all like the Middle Eastern themes that you hear through the album as well. The Adhan and the 786 and the Crazy Arabian. Like, I'm sticking to a certain theme here because I always feel like the religion Islam hasn't been really delved into through music, especially in South Africa. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
I've never heard it in South African music ever.
Yeah.
So I felt like I need to, be vocal about it because I'm a Muslim, number one. Number two, I'm rapping, it's against my religion. Number three, there's Muslim kids listening to me. Their parents sometimes don't want them to, but now, how about I promote their religion in the music positively and truthfully, so that when the parents hear it, they're almost proud of it. Like, oh wow,
Yeah.
he's saying something good about Islam, or he's a Muslim boy and he's not swearing. He's actually just saying it in a clean manner, you know. So that was also my intention in those songs, not to be vulgar, not to use any swear words, so that even a Muslim old person could listen to it and not fault it.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't find anything wrong with it. He would just find the pure message there from a boy who's trying to figure things out. He doesn't know. He doesn't have the answers. He's coming to his grandfather for the answers.
Yeah.